The whole dealership burst into laughter. A tired single dad named Ethan stood beside an old, rusty car priced at just $100. The paint was peeling. The seats were torn. Even the engine barely started. A wealthy woman in designer clothes pointed at him and laughed. "That's the car you're buying. My handbag costs more than that." Everyone nearby chuckled. But Ethan didn't react. He quietly signed the papers and handed over his last savings. The woman shook her head. "Some people are born to stay poor." Ethan looked at the car one more time and smiled. Because he had noticed something nobody else had. Hidden beneath years of dust and neglect was a tiny metal badge. A badge that didn't belong on an ordinary car. And that single detail was about to change everything. That night, Ethan parked the old car outside his small house. While his daughter slept, he grabbed a flashlight and began inspecting every inch of it. The strange metal badge kept bothering him. It carried the logo of a legendary racing workshop that had closed decades ago. Most people would have ignored it. But Ethan had spent years working as a mechanic before life became difficult. As he cleaned away more dirt, he discovered something shocking. The car wasn't an ordinary model at all. Years earlier, it had been specially modified for a famous racer. The custom engine parts were still there. The reinforced suspension was still intact. Someone had hidden a piece of racing history under layers of rust and neglect. Ethan's heart raced. If he was right, this $100 car could be worth far more than anyone imagined. Meanwhile, the woman who mocked him was still telling people about the poor dad and his junk car. She had no idea that experts were about to arrive with an offer that would leave the entire town speechless. 2 days later, a black luxury SUV pulled up in front of Ethan's house. The neighbors peeked from behind curtains. A tall man in a racing jacket stepped out. His name was Victor Kane, a retired racing legend known across the country. He walked straight to Ethan's garage and stopped the moment he saw the car. His eyes widened. "No way," he whispered. Ethan stepped forward, confused. "Do you know this car?" Victor slowly ran his hand over the dusty hood. "This isn't just any car," he said. "This is a lost prototype from the Kane racing era. We thought it was destroyed years ago." Ethan froze. Victor turned sharply. "Where did you get this?" Before Ethan could answer, a familiar voice interrupted. It was the same wealthy woman from the dealership, standing behind them with a smug smile. "I told you it was junk," she said. "I even laughed when he bought it for $100. Victor's expression changed instantly. He looked at her, then back at the car. And then he made an offer that shocked everyone. "I'll buy this car right now, for $5 million. Silence fell. Even Ethan couldn't believe what he just heard. The air in front of Ethan's house turned heavy. $5 million. Ethan repeated slowly, as if the words didn't belong in real life. Victor Kane didn't blink. "It's worth even more to the racing world. This car contains experimental engineering that was never released publicly. If it goes back to my team, it will change modern racing." The wealthy woman let out a short laugh, but this time it sounded nervous. "That's ridiculous, it's just an old junk car." Victor finally turned to her. "No," he said coldly. "It's history. And you mocked the only man smart enough to recognize it." Her smile faded instantly. Ethan looked at his sleeping daughter inside the house. Then back at the car. He wasn't thinking about money. He was thinking about what this could mean for their future. But something still didn't feel right. Why was something this valuable left to rot? Ethan asked. Victor's expression darkened. Because someone wanted it forgotten, permanently. A sudden silence followed. Even the wind seemed to stop. Then Victor leaned closer and lowered his voice. "If this car is truly intact, then whoever buried it here will come looking for it." That night, As Ethan locked his door, headlights appeared at the end of the street. The headlights stopped right outside Ethan's house. 2 black vehicles. No license plates. Ethan's grip tightened on the garage door key. Victor Kane stepped forward immediately, his voice sharp. "Stay inside." But Ethan didn't move. "That car is in my property." Victor glanced at him. "Then you're already involved." The doors of the black vehicles opened. 3 men stepped out, silent, professional, wearing dark coats. The kind of people who didn't need to speak to be dangerous. The leader looked straight at Victor. "You weren't supposed to find it," he said calmly. The wealthy woman from earlier peeked from behind her car, suddenly terrified. "What is going on?" Victor's jaw tightened. "These are the people who erased this car from records," he told Ethan quietly. "Corporate Racing Division. They don't want it on the market. They want it destroyed." Ethan looked at the car again. For the first time, it didn't feel like a blessing. It felt like a target. The leader stepped forward. "We'll take it now. No one has to get hurt." Silence dropped like a hammer. Ethan slowly walked between them and the garage door. "No," he said firmly. Victor looked at him in shock. "Ethan, don't." But Ethan didn't step back. Behind him, his daughter's bedroom light turned on. And that was the moment everything changed. Because Ethan wasn't just a single dad anymore. He was the only person standing between them and a piece of racing history worth killing for. The man in the front gave a small, almost amused smile. "You don't understand what you're protecting," he said. Ethan didn't move. "Then explain it." Victor stepped slightly forward, keeping his voice low. "Ethan, they're not here to talk. That engine, if it's activated in the wrong hands, it can rewrite performance limits. It was banned before it even went public." The leader's eyes shifted coldly. "It was never meant to exist outside our control." The wealthy woman whispered from behind her car, I didn't sign up for this." No one paid attention to her anymore. The night grew heavier. Then Ethan did something no one expected. He took a step forward. "You erased it. You hid it. You let people think it was junk so no one would question it," Ethan said. "But you made one mistake." The leader narrowed his eyes. "And what's that?" Ethan pointed toward the garage. "You left it in my hands." For a moment, silence stretched so tightly it felt like it might snap. Then, Victor's phone buzzed violently. He looked at the screen and went pale. "They're not just here," Victor said slowly. "Backup units are closing in on the entire street." The leader sighed. "Last chance." Ethan turned slightly, looking at his daughter's room light again. Then back at the car. Ethan didn't run. He didn't argue. He calmly reached into his pocket and pulled out the car keys. The street went silent. Even Victor looked confused. "What are you doing?" Ethan's voice was steady. "You said this engine changes everything, but only if it's activated, right?" The leader's expression sharpened. "Don't do anything stupid." Ethan gave a faint smile. "I'm not the one breaking into someone's property at midnight." Before anyone could react, Ethan turned toward the garage. Victor stepped in fast. "Ethan, wait, if you start it, they'll detect the signal." But it was already too late. Ethan opened the garage door. The old car sat there, dusty, quiet, almost forgotten again. He slid into the driver's seat. For a brief moment, he just sat there, thinking of his daughter sleeping inside the house. Then he inserted the key. The engine coughed once. Twice. And then it roared to life. A deep, powerful sound exploded through the street. The headlights of the black vehicles flickered. Their systems reacted instantly. One of the men shouted, "It's online." Victor's face turned pale. He just woke it up. And Ethan realized something terrifying. This wasn't just a car. It was broadcasting its location. Every system, every hidden tracker inside it, was now active. Outside, engines of more vehicles began approaching at high speed. The leader smiled coldly. Now we can take it properly. Ethan gripped the wheel tighter. And whispered to himself. Like the car was waking up after years of silence, and remembering exactly what it was built to do. Victor rushed to the garage door. Ethan, shut it down. Now. But Ethan was already watching the dashboard. New lights were coming alive on their own. Systems he didn't even touch were activating. The steering wheel gave a slight vibration, almost like it was responding to him. Outside, the black vehicles repositioned fast. They weren't surrounding the house anymore. They were containing it. The leader raised a hand. Move in. But before anyone could take a step, the car's headlights suddenly flared bright white. So bright that everyone instinctively covered their eyes. And then, the car rolled forward. Slow at first. Then faster. Ethan's hands tightened on the wheel. Wait. I'm not. The accelerator responded even without him pressing fully. Victor shouted, "It's in autonomous mode." The car shot out of the garage like a bullet. Gravel exploded behind it. The street turned into chaos, black vehicles chasing instantly. Inside the car, Ethan struggled to regain control. Come on, come on. But the system responded differently. A calm voice, hidden in the car's interface, finally activated. Driver recognized. Ethan froze. That's not possible. The voice continued. Welcome back, Ethan Walker. Victor heard it through the comms and went silent. They knew you. Behind them, engines roared louder. And Ethan realized the worst part. This car wasn't just valuable. The engine roared through the quiet street as Ethan gripped the steering wheel, struggling to understand what was happening. The car wasn't behaving like a normal machine anymore. It felt alive, responsive, aware, almost like it had been waiting for this exact moment. Come on. I'm not doing this, Ethan muttered, trying to regain control. But the dashboard lights kept shifting on their own, as if the system was making decisions faster than he could react. Behind him, Victor's voice came through the comms, tense and urgent. Ethan, it's in autonomous recovery mode. Don't fight it, just stabilize it. That's easy for you to say. Ethan snapped, as the car suddenly accelerated harder. The black vehicles behind them reacted instantly, fanning out across the road. Engines screamed as they tried to close in, but the old car, now anything but old, slipped through the gaps like it knew every move before it happened. Then the voice came again from the system interface, calm and precise. Driver recognized. Full access granted. Ethan froze for a split second. Recognized, how? Victor went completely silent on the other end. Then, in a lower voice, almost shaken, he said, that's not just recognition software, that's biometric legacy access. It's tied to one person only. Ethan swallowed hard. Who? A brief pause. The original test driver. Before Ethan could respond, the car suddenly swerved on its own, avoiding a blockade that hadn't even been visible a second earlier. Tires screeched behind them as the pursuing vehicles tried to adjust. And then the system spoke one more line that made Ethan's blood run cold. Protocol restored. Mission continuation, protect driver. Ethan's grip tightened even more. Protect me from what exactly? But there was no answer, only the sound of approaching engines growing louder, closer, and more coordinated than before. Like and subscribe.